Hello learners, today's topic is time value of money. As we know, with the passage of time, value of money changes. Whatever is the purchasing power of rupees 1000 today, same might not remain the purchasing power after 1 year, 2 year or 3 year. The reason for that change in the purchasing power is generally inflation, but there are many more reasons also. So, today's topic is time value of money. In this topic, what we are going to learn, that is practically, we will learn about present value of money, we will learn about future value of money, and lastly, we will learn about the practical application of present value of money, future value of money. Now, you might be thinking, what can be the practical application? Now, the practical application which we will learn in this one will be beneficial or useful for everyone, whether he is a finance executive or he is a layman. Layman means a person who is not at all having any background of the finance, but still he needs to have that practical application learning. Now, what is that practical application I am talking about? Practical application will be about, let us say if you take a loan from a bank today and you are interested to calculate equal annual installment of that loan or equal monthly installment of that loan, then this practical application of present value of money will let you know how much is the installment of loan which you have taken from a bank or a financial institution. Similarly, if you want to build up a corpus for your future consumption, then how much you should deposit year on year or month on month, so that you can have a definite corpus at the end of the time period or desired time period. That is the practical application of future value of money. Similarly, we will have a blended application of present value of money and future value of money, and that will be in retirement planning or superannuation planning. There are few people who work up till the age of 60 years or 62 years or 65 years, and thereafter they are not eligible to get any kind of regular pension from anybody, whether from the government or from their employer. In that case, person needs to deposit some money every year during his service period, and then when he retires at the age of 60 or 62, whatever may be, he must have a sufficient corpus to get regular pension type of money year on year till his survival. That is why we say time value of money has a much broader application, not only for finance people, for general people also. So, let us understand what time value of money is. First, we will learn about present value of money, then future value, and then the application. If you see present value of money means the today's equivalent amount of a sum which you are likely to get in future. That is what I said few minutes ago. If you are likely to get 1000 rupees after 3 years, definitely you are not going to sacrifice same 1000 today in lieu of that 1000. So, present value is how much is the worth of that 1000 which you will get after 3 years. Now, present value of a money depends upon major two factors. Number one, timing of getting the money. Number two, rate of interest which you might get on a particular deposit, or what is your opportunity cost of capital, or what is your required rate of return. So, present value of future sum of money is always less than the future value, and that is why present value is also called as discounted value or discounted amount. Now, present value concept has major 4 areas: present value of lump sum amount, that is single amount; present value of an uneven series of amounts, that means every year you get different amounts, 1000 in first year, 2000 in second year, 5000 in third year, again 1000 in fourth year. So, how to calculate present value of that uneven series? Then we will have present value of an annuity. What annuity is, I will let you know, and then present value of a perpetuity. So, these 4 aspects we are going to cover under the present value topic. Now, present value of lump sum amount or single amount. Lump sum amount implies a single amount which is either received or paid at a future point of time. In case of a present value of money, the incidence of getting the money is generally or by default is at the end of respective period. if I say that you will get 1000, 2000, 3000 respectively at the end of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Now, you can see how do we calculate the present value. So, these are the uneven amounts, every year we are not getting the same amount. So, we will be interested to know what is the value of all these three amounts as of today. That means, present value of this 1000 which we will be getting at the end of first year, similarly present value of this 2000 and present value of this 3000, both or three things clubbed together will become the combined present value of all these three amounts. So, that is how we will be learning present value of money. Now, as you can see, this particular timeline shows that how the money will flow. If you are going to get 1000 rupees at the end of third year, what is the present value of that? So, it means I am talking about present value of lump sum amount. By default, we will say you will get this 1000 at the end of third year. So, simple formula for that is there. What is the formula? Present value is equal to amount multiplied by 1 upon 1 plus r raised to the power of n. Remind you, I have taken the r, that is rate of interest 10%. You can take any rate, but it has to be written as 0.10. If your rate of interest is 5%, so in the formula it will be plugged in as 0.05. Now, in this case, we are going to get 1000 rupees at the end of third year. Rate I have selected 10%, so it will become 1.10, that is 1 plus r raised to the power of 3. Now, how to solve that? There is a mechanism. Mechanism is simple. First of all, we will be solving for this part. So, if we make a solution for that, 1 upon 1.1 raised to the power of 3. So, 1 upon 1.1 raised to the power of 3 gets you 0.751. It means 1000 multiplied by 0.751 gets you 751. It means the answer for present value of that 1000 is 751. Now, what is the implication of that? Implication is simple, that if your friend is likely to give you 1000 rupees at the end of third year and he wants you to give him a loan right now, and you are expecting 10% return on your loan, then definitely maximum you will be giving him 751. As soon as you lend him 751 and he gives you 1000 at the end of third year, you will get back your 751 and you will earn 10% interest year on year for 3 years on that amount. So, it means difference between 1000 and 751, that is 249, is your interest for 3 years. So, that is where we find the application of time value of money. Now, question comes, how do we decide this 10%? This 10% is basically your expected rate of return or required rate of return. It is dependent upon three factors: time value, that is waiting period, because you are sacrificing your money 751 today. So, you need some compensation for waiting, because right now you can go and enjoy this 751, get the utility out of this 751, but you are giving it to your friend as a loan or you are depositing in a bank. So, you are waiting to consume that money for the future period. Then next part is inflation premium. So, you will be requiring some compensation for the inflation also, and third part is risk premium. It means required rate of return is dependent upon compensation for waiting, that is compensation for time, compensation for inflation, and compensation for risk, which is also called as risk premium. It means this required rate of return, also known as discount rate, because we are calculating present value, is dependent upon these three factors. If you say risk is not there, so you will read 0% risk compensation, but definitely if you say 5% is the time compensation and another 5% is for inflation, and that is how you reach at the 10% required rate of return. So, this is the way present value of lump sum amount is calculated. So, that was the formula I displayed. You can note down, this is given for your reference. So, we proceed further. The next concept which we have, present value of an annuity. Table approach I will explain you when we go for that. So, this is the example also you can see I have created an example like Sunny will receive rupees 9,000 at the end of 4th year from now. What will be its present value when rate of interest is 12% per annum? Now, here you can see 9,000 is the amount which he will get at the end of 4th year. So, n becomes 4, r is 12%. So, written as 0.12. So, formula approach you can apply, and if you solve through formula approach you will get that solution. However, you can also have time value table approach. There are ready time value tables which get you the value of rupee 1, and these ready tables are available in every finance books on the free sources as well as in this slide also. So, this is the table is there, present value of rupee 1. So, we were talking about 12%. So, this is the 12%. How to read this table now? Question comes, sometimes learners become confused how to read this table. So, first of all select the appropriate table, present value of rupee 1, that is present value of lump sum amount. This table is prepared for rupee 1 or $1 if you are in dollar currency. Now, your rate was 12%. If you are going to get money at the end of 4th year, so present value of that 1 rupee which you will get at the end of 4th year is 0.636. If you are going to get rupee 1 at the end of 5th year, present value at the rate of 12% is 567. So, rate will come from this place, rate will come from this place, and period will come from this place. So, interpretation, again I have told you, that is the interpretation. You can see the 9,000 which he will get at the end of 4th year, its present value is 5724. Then we proceed further, present value of uneven series of amounts. Let us take a person will get 3,000, 5,000, 3,000 and 4,000 respectively at the end of these periods. That means, at the end of 1st year 3,000, likewise 5, 3 and 4 at the end of respective years. His required rate of return is 10%. Now, how can we calculate present value of all these amounts? This is simple fundamental. Do one thing, rate was 10%. So, go to the time value table, present value of rupee 1. Here is the 10%. You can see 1st year factor, time value factor, PVIF, which is called as present value of interest factor, 0.909, 0.826, 0.751 and 0.683. So, select these factors. Now, what you need to do? Go to the same table. So, now we have taken an example of present value of a series of uneven amounts. If we take this example, Mr. Roni will get 3,000, 5,000, 3,000 and 4,000 respectively at the end of 1st year, 2nd year and 3rd year and 4th year. If his required rate of return or opportunity cost of capital is 10%, then how much is the present value of all these 4 amounts? Mechanism is simple. Create a table like this. First column is year, second column is the amounts which he is going to get during these periods, and third column we have taken PVIF, that is present value interest factor at the rate of 10%. Now, this particular factor need to be selected from the time value table, or you can use your calculator to calculate the factor as well. Now, if you are to calculate the factor, then definitely factor can be calculated like this: 1 upon 1.1 raised to the power of 1 will get you a factor 0.909. Similarly, for 2nd year you can calculate the factor, like if you are calculating this factor, 2nd year factor, it will be 1 upon 1.1 raised to the power of 2. So, you will get an answer 0.826. So, that is the way. If you are handy with the calculation on calculator, you can do it on the calculator, else you can refer to the time value table which is readily available, and I will show you how to read the time value table again. So, let us go back to the time value table which we had seen few minutes ago. Here is the 10%. You can see below 10%, for 1st year factor is 0.909, 2nd year 0.826. So, it means this is giving me present value of rupee 1 which is respectively received at first, second, third and fourth year. Pick these factors and plug in the table and you will get time value factors in your table. Now you have the factors. Now what we can do? How this 2727 comes? 3000 multiplied with this factor, you get 2727. Similarly, 5000 multiplied with 0.826, you get 4130. And likewise for all the 4 amounts, we get the value. And then once we have the value for all the 4 amounts, we get sum total of that 11,842. That means that is the present value, combined present value of all those 4 amounts which he will be getting. So this is the way we can calculate present value of an uneven series. That means different amounts are received at the end of different period. One more thing, let me remind you again, when we are discussing in general about time value of money, every year you are getting some amount, but by default we are getting this amount at the end of first year, this amount at the end of second year and so on. So default consideration is you get the money at the end of the respective period. Now let us proceed further. We have present value of an annuity. Now what an annuity is? An annuity is a series of equal payments or level payments which we say, which is given or received at a regular time interval and for a definite time period. Example may be, you will receive rupees 1000 per year for next 7 years, you will receive rupees 500 per month for next 4 years, or you will receive rupees 100 every quarter for next 3 years. All these are the examples of annuity. So an annuity is a series of payments in which each payment is the same, time interval is same, and this continues for a definite time period. So that is the definition of an annuity. Again, default consideration in an annuity is, it is a regular annuity, means every time money is paid or received at the end of respective time period. So when we say every year you will get rupees 1000 for 7 years, so first 1000 you will get at the end of first year, second 1000 at the end of second year, and last 1000 at the end of 7th year. So default consideration is you get the money at the end of the respective time period. Now question comes, how to calculate present value of an annuity. So these are the examples which I spoke few minutes ago. So you can see all these are the examples of annuity. It may be annual annuity, quarterly annuity, half yearly or monthly annuity. Now present value of a regular annuity. As regular annuity means you are getting the money every time at the end of each period. Now how to calculate present value of that regular annuity? So you can see we have a formula, present value of a regular annuity is equal to amount multiplied by FVIFA, future present value PVIFA, present value interest factor for an annuity at a given rate for nth period. Now this annuity amount, the amount which you will get every period, is also called as PMT, that is equal level payment. Then PVIFA, present value interest factor for an annuity at a given rate of interest for nth period. Now either you can use the time value table again, there is a separate time value table for an annuity also, present value annuity table, or you can use this formula to calculate annuity factor. Now once you have the annuity factor either through calculation or through table, you can calculate present value of a regular annuity. Now let us see how do we calculate it. So this is the table which I was talking about. So you can see present value of an annuity. So this is the formula we have taken. So you can see the formula is already there with us. I will show you how to apply this formula also. But if you read this table practically, let us say your rate is 8% and you will get the annuity for 5 years. So you can see in this particular 5 years row and rate is coming from there. So this particular factor, once again I will display it. Your rate is 8%, so read the rate from this point, and your annuity continues for 5 periods, 5 years. Then you will select 5 from here. So, this 3.993. Now, what this 3.993 is? That if you are going to get rupee 1 every year for 5 years, then combined present value of all those 5 rupees is 3.993. And the interpretation is simple, that if you are going to get rupees 1 at the end of every year for next 5 years, in lieu of that you are ready to sacrifice or deposit 3.993, so that when you get these money over a period of 5 years, you will earn an interest at the rate of 8% per annum. So, that is the interpretation of this table. So, this table is readily available, you can use it. Now, let us proceed further. So, we have an example with us. Mrs. Jigna will pay 4,000 per annum for a duration of 10 years. If rate of interest is 14% per annum, then calculate present value of this amount. So, here PMT or AA, that is annuity amount is 4,000, his preferred rate is 14%, that is written as 0.014, and N, that is duration for which this annuity continues, is 10 years. So, what we can do? We have present value table, this is my 14% indicator and that is the 10-year indicator. So, what we get? The present value of rupee 1 table tells me 5.216. Now, what I have to do? I have to simply work it out like this. 4,000 multiplied by 5.216, I will get 20,864. That means, when she is going to pay 4,000 every year for next 10 years, in lieu of that she needs to get 20,864. So, you can simply say, we can now go for the application also little bit later on, I will explain in detail also, that if she gets a loan of 20,864 from a bank to be repaid in equal annual installment over 10 years and rate of interest by the bank is 14%, then she needs to pay 4,000 per year to repay the loan. While repaying the loan, she pays how much? 40,000, 4,000 times 10. So, in total she has repaid 40,000. She gets a loan of 20,864, which is the present value of all the installments she will be paying. So, difference is like interest. So, this is the way present value of annuity finds its application. Let us proceed further. Then the next concept within this is present value of a perpetuity. Now, what a perpetuity is? A perpetuity is again a series of equal payments continuing at a regular interval, but it continues for an indefinite period, infinite period. That means to say, if I say you will get a scholarship of rupees 500 per month till your lifelong or till infinity, that is a perpetuity, that is monthly perpetuity. Or someone might assure you, you will get rupees 1 lakh per annum till the time you survive, then again we say this is again an example of a perpetuity. So, the basic difference between annuity and perpetuity is, annuity satisfies 3 conditions. Condition number 1, same amount, regular interval, and annuity continues for a definite time period. Whereas, as soon as we remove the third condition, first condition is same amount and second condition is regular interval, then it becomes a perpetuity. So, how to calculate present value of a perpetuity? So, these are the examples I have taken. 500 paid or received every month for lifetime, 1500 paid or received every 3 months for lifetime, and so on. So, these can be the examples of perpetuity. Now, let us learn how to calculate present value of a perpetuity. Present value of a perpetuity can be calculated simple. Double A again means every time the amount which you are going to get, and R is the rate of interest. Now, let me remind you, if your perpetuity is taking monthly shape, or that means you are getting month on month the amount, then definitely R has to be monthly rate. If your perpetuity is with yearly interval, R has to be yearly. If your perpetuity is with half yearly interval, then R has to be, that is required rate of return has to be half yearly. So, again annuity amount, and R is the rate corresponding to the time interval of perpetuity. So, for monthly perpetuity the rate will be monthly, similarly for half yearly it will be half yearly and so on. So, let us see how to calculate the present value of that perpetuity. So, I have taken an example. So, Mr. Moon Singh will receive 1500 per month for an infinite time period. If his time preference rate is 24% per annum, then what is the present value of this perpetuity? Now, here you can see that he will be getting 1500 rupees every month, and since it is a monthly perpetuity, we need to convert 24% annual rate into monthly. So, monthly rate will be 24 divided by 12, that is 2%, and this 2% is written as 0.02. So, the common mistake sometimes the learners make, that 2% they can write, they simply write it 0.20. So, that does not become 2%, this will become 20%. So, how to convert 2% into decimal form? Simply divide the 2 by 100. So, when you divide it by 100, so it becomes 0.02. So, always remember percent means that value is being divided by 100. So, it becomes 0.02. So, in the formula you will plug in 0.02. So, 1500 is the monthly amount and 0.02 is your monthly rate. So, present value becomes 75,000. Now, you might be surprised how this 75,000 is the present value, because you might be thinking that you will live for another 80 years and there are 12 months in every year. So, 960 months you will be surviving, and how this 75,000 can get you 1,500 per month. So, I have created justification of this also. So, let us see what is the justification of that perpetuity amount or present value of perpetuity. So, present value is 75,000. It implies as if 75,000 is deposited in a bank, which gives you 2% interest monthly. So, now think 75,000 when you deposit in a bank, which gives you 2% monthly interest. So, today you deposit 75,000, 2% monthly interest means every month you will get 1500 rupees. So, month on month you keep on withdrawing the interest, 75,000 remains deposited. Now, if suppose this money remains in the bank for a quite long time period, not only you, because you have estimated you will survive for another 80 years. So, for next 80 years every month you can get 1500, thereafter your successors will enjoy the same money. It means not only you will get the perpetual amount, your successors will also get the perpetual amount. That is why I say time value of money has an application. Deposit some lump sum amount today, every month you can get something, and that money deposited by you belongs to you and your successors, and lifelong and perpetuity can continue. So, that is the justification of perpetuity. Your 75,000 does not get disturbed, you are simply reaping out the interest every month which you are earning. So, that is the justification of present value of that money which you will be getting as a perpetuity. So, next part will be there. In this video, what we have learned? We have learnt about present value of money. Present value means if you are going to get some money in future, what is its value as of today? So, current worth of an amount which you are likely to get in future. So, that is the definition of present value. Present value concept has 4 different angles: present value of lump sum amount, present value of uneven series of amounts, present value of an annuity, present value of a perpetuity. Now, one last concept I will tell you, there is something called as present value of an advance annuity, because while discussing the annuity, I said by default we have every time you get the money at the end of the period. What if you get the money in the beginning of each period? So, how to work out that? So, let us see on that one. So, let us say you are going to get money like this, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 1000, 1000 and again 1000. But since I am explaining you present value of an advanced annuity, it means this 1000 will come to you immediately, that is at 0 time. This 1000 which is reflected below 2 comes to you at the end of first year, and this 1000 comes to you at the end of second year. So, if you are going to get an advanced annuity, in that case how to calculate present value? So simple, present value of an advanced annuity is annuity amount multiplied with PVIFA at certain rate for nth period. I hope you recollect this formula. This is the formula for present value of regular annuity. If you multiply the same formula by 1 plus R, you will get present value of an advanced annuity. So that example also we will see in our another video, which is about the application of the things. So whenever present value of an advanced annuity is discussed, it means every period you are getting money in the beginning. So second year's beginning means first year's end, third year's beginning means second year's end. So simply whatever is your regular annuity formula, so this was your regular annuity formula, multiply it with 1 plus R. So if your annuity is yearly, R will be yearly. If your annuity is monthly, R will be monthly, because every time you are getting or paying money one period advance, so you need one period extra compensation. So that is all in this particular video. In next video we will talk about future value of money. Till then, keep on learning, because learning is enriching. Thank you.